Oh, hello there. Yes, it's midweek. It's actually quite nippy. I feel cheated, I do. Yes, anyway, it's time to talk about Kathleen Stock once again. Yes. Unfortunately for the mainstream media, the demonstrations against her at Oxford last night didn't quite veer into the riotous assembly that they were hoping for. Let's have a look at some of that action.
2 hours when we were speaking to you, we spoke to somebody who was sympathetic towards the trans movement. Now we're going to speak to somebody who's on the other side of the debate. Hilary Baxter is a sports feminist and she joins me now. Why is it that you're here?
I've come here to defend women's sex-based rights, the right for free speech, the right for Kathleen to talk, and especially the right for women in sport.
Can you understand, though, why the trans community, the LGBTQ community, is upset?
Not really, because Kathleen Stock hasn't said anything that's transphobic. All she said is that sex is binary, which is true.
How concerned are you, then, about single-sex spaces, toilets, trans prisoners going to female prisons? How much of a concern is that to you?
That's a huge concern. Trans women should not be allowed in women's prisons. Trans rapists like Isla Brighton shouldn't be allowed in women's prisons. Or sports. If you allow biological males into women's sports, they will destroy the sports because men are faster and stronger and they will win all the sports, like Emily Bridges has done in cycling, like Leah Thomas has done in swimming, and Laura Hubbard has done in weightlifting.
Yes, well, there you have it. Those nefarious left-wingers with their standing respectfully stuff going on. I have a few problems with Kathleen Stock. Not so much around her, but, if you like, the sociology around her, because she's a woman who, it would appear, has gained a lot of traction, and a gong, British Empire gong, for services to the culture wars. She's given a platform anywhere. And, you know, I mean, the thing about her book is it's probably a call for people being reasonable. However, when you side in particular with just one side of a debate, you're not being reasonable. And anyway, let's just delve. I just want to pick out one thing that she said last night. When pressed on whether trans people posed a similar risk to biological men, she said, "If you think trans people aren't violent, you need to talk to some criminologists." And I was thinking to myself, yeah, you do need to talk to some criminologists because they would vehemently disagree with you. They would argue, because it's a branch of sociology, that it's a construct. The same argument is used about black people being violent. Well, they must be violent because there are loads of them in prison. They must be criminal by that reckoning. Now, either she doesn't know what criminologists do, which I'd be reasonably surprised about, or she's being deliberately disingenuous here. To argue that groups of people are violent and a threat is fine, and from her sort of, you know, political lesbian feminist position, women of a certain age, I grew up with a lot of them in the 80s, they do come from that position, so you can see how they've arrived here. However, her and other people's solution, and indeed that whole kind of over there thing, which includes J.K. Rowling, does often lead to people having some very, very unfortunate friends, shall we say. And I think that's basically Kathleen Stock's thing. I mean, her particular shtick at the moment appears to be turning up and seeing what hassle I can cause. I mean, you know, as a situationist lark, it's a great one. However, for the people involved, it isn't. And she is very removed in class terms from what she does. Just as a final thought, actual kudos to Talk TV, who actually did interview various people. They might well argue because it wasn't riotous. I would argue it wasn't riotous because, as a criminologist would say, these people aren't criminals. Anyway, have a lovely day.